Please, everyone who's in here, join my Nearpod, please. Okay. I'm having some people coming in just now, which is perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're about to get started on today's Nearpod lesson. And all right. So I want to, again, this is an introduction to the Baroque era. We're about to get out of Renaissance, because last time we met, we started Renaissance, and we even did an entire lesson dedicated to Da Vinci because he was such an important part of the Renaissance time. So after Renaissance comes the Baroque era and also the Counter-Reformation in an age of kings. And I'm going to be talking to you about that. Okay. Now, let me go over some of this info first. We need to always, whoops. But before we do that, I want to know, because a lot of us just went through the whole Halloween deal. And even if you don't, I want to know, what is your favorite candy? And remember, if you haven't done one of these before, you are able to also include an image. And so, like, I'm putting mine right there. What happened? Invalid. Let's go ahead and participate in this. And I'm gonna, it's not letting me cancel. Okay. Let's see if this one works. Invalid file type. Did somebody post something? I thought I saw something. Am I just choosing all of them that are invalid? I don't know why. Oh, somebody deleted their post. No, show me. That's what I'm trying to do, but every single one that I click on tells me that it's invalid. How come? Well, it's about time. These look yummy. Mine's an old school one, but I don't even think they sell them that much anymore, but I still one of my faves. And yes to Recess. I second that.
What are baby Ruths? I never tried them.
So it's got like peanut and caramel and chocolate, and it's good. It's got a see, I like a combination of salty and sweet, and it's a little bit more salty than sweet. So Snickers
Is it like a Snicker, basically?
yes, but different. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah. So just try it next time you're at the store and be like, I wonder why she likes these. And again, if you're a salty person, you're going to understand why. Thank you for sharing, guys. And yes, Sour Patch. Anybody else? I feel like I need like 2 more of you to get me some info there. I kind of want to get to know what kind of candy you like. Something out there. I mean, aside from that, I am Hispanic. So this is another one that I really like. I really like those paletas. They're so good. So, let's see. Yes, John. You had a question? Yeah, go through your Halloween stuff and check it out. Why are you doing that, John? It's too early in the morning. That was just, I don't know. That was like, yay, but really? Because I don't have one in front of me. And I don't know where you live, and you're probably somewhere across the globe in Texas. How that happened, I don't know. If you haven't noticed by now, I love to exaggerate. That was a little bit evil, I'm gonna say. So he tried them, right? Okay. Mid for you. Or which ones are mid? What are you guys talking about? What is this whole thing you're having a conversation about? Oh, Butterfingers? Oh, okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one. That was fun. All right. So again, remember our mission and our ISVA to provide hope for students through a virtual mastery-based blended learning educational option that promotes a free society and cultivates moral and academic excellence. All right. So class norms, be respectful to others, very important. You are always ready to say something, even with the candy. I already saw some mid and blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's keep it nice. Let's be nice to each other. I feel like some of you just come in to see what's going to happen this time. Stop it. Keep chat on topic during class. Be present and engaged. Raise your hand and speak on the mic. You guys are really good about that right now. So the objectives for this lesson is you're going to be able to describe the importance of the Catholic Church and the Counter-Reformation to the characteristics of Baroque art. You're going to also be able to describe some of the characteristics of Baroque art. So before we get started with that, I want to remind you that we just finished with Renaissance, and you guys should all be in this page right now. And I just had some little clip art there to remind you. What was some of the biggest or the biggest things that you got from this time period? So what do you know about Renaissance? What can you tell me about Renaissance? We spent quite a bit of time on that unit. I hope that by what you saw and you read and the addition of my lesson, you're able to at least tell me one thing that you remember from Renaissance. Go ahead and share your thoughts. Yes. Yes, John. Yes. Oh my gosh. She's dabbing. You know, I don't know if this looks good, but my nephew did his own rendition of the Mona Lisa, and I want to share that with you. Right here. So he said, I wanted to get the Mona Lisa and I wanted to give her googly eyes and I wanted to make my own version of her. I like it. I actually think I'm going to make it like my phone screen for a while. I'm like, dude, you did a really good job, didn't he? Whoa, I think so. Oh my God. That's so funny. Okay. What else? It was a rebirth. Yes. The artists were funded by patrons. Yes. Oh my gosh, I want to cry right now because that is so true. Anybody remember one of the richest families, the richest patrons that we had during the Renaissance? Anyone? You, if you're into Legos, go ahead, London.
The Medici family.
Yay, the Medici family. Great. Yes. And um what I was going to say is because that one that Jalissa just posted reminded me so much of it. What I was going to say is if you're into Legos, Legos now has a Mona Lisa that is like it pops out at you. It's pretty cool. Um they've come a long way. They really have. So great job, guys. It makes me so happy that you are understanding this information. All right. So guided questions. How was Baroque art an essential part of the Counter Reformation? So this is the biggest thing like that we're going to be talking about right now. How did this begin? Because what is Baroque? You know, I'm not saying broke, I'm saying Baroque. So this began in Italy around 1600 when the Catholic Church financed grand works to advertise their faith during the Counter Reformation. So what they did is that, you know, Protestants came in and then the church, remember, all of their work was like very dim. There was no signatures by the artist. The artwork was hold on, let me make sure that you guys are staying on topic and not having little conversations. Okay, y'all are doing good. All right. Yes, we see it, Jalissa. So I'm just gonna wait until all right. So let's get back to this. Lucas, don't go along with it. Just keep on listening to me, okay? All right, thanks. All right. So The Baroque period. This was, again, Counter-Reformation. I want to remind you, Jalissa, it's kind of distracting. Just, okay, thanks. Okay. All right. So what we're talking about right now is how it began, right? And I'm going to go back to the Protestants. They were like having their own church because they didn't believe in everything that the Catholics were doing. They saw some of those things wrong and they just wanted to read the Bible and believe in God, right? So the Catholics said, no, we want all Catholic, because if you're not, you are going to, I mean, some of them were killed flat out. Like, you're not going to come to my religion, we're going to kill you. Protestants had to have private Bible readings, and they would go in there and they would ransack the place and they would kill them. And that's just not, I'm just going to wait until you guys stop your little conversation so we can continue. I feel like I'm talking to myself here. And there's other people who are paying attention, so stop. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So again, the church then said the artwork, we don't want to make it all bright. We don't want to make it dramatic. We want to dim it. We don't want to put artist names on it. And we want people to fear going to hell. So let's show them visually how that can do that. Well, Protestants weren't showing that. They were showing a happier God, giving God, merciful God. And so the Catholic Church started to see people were leaving the Catholic Church, and they said, we need to do something to get these people back. So they started to use artwork to do that. They said, we're going to change the artwork. We're going to make it visibly appealing. We're going to make it larger. We're going to make it emotional and dramatic, because a lot of people, remember, the townspeople were illiterate. So they would go based off of what they would see because they couldn't read. And visually, that was really important for the Catholic Church. They said, now we're going to use art to bring people back and appeal, like question, what is that? What does that mean? And then it would be more powerful, right? So the church wanted to attract new worshipers and they were competing now with the Protestant faith. So in the 1500s, the Catholic Church took a huge hit because of the Protestant Revolution. And what does Baroque art have to do with the Counter-Reformation? So Counter-Reformation, the Catholic Church wanted to improve their image. Again, they had a bad image of scaring people, and they wanted to use art to appeal to people. And so they were improving their images now, and they were going to appeal to the masses, even the illiterate. Baroque art. So after the Inquisition, the Catholic Church decided that they needed to show off a softer side to draw people back. So even though the artwork was dramatic and emotional, it made them a lot more humanized in the way that they were saying softer. It didn't mean that it was, you know, the artwork was going to be just lovely and butterflies. No, it means that they were going to bring more humanity to it and not just say, you're going to hell, you're going to burn in flames, the devil, you know, you're a sinner. And so it was all just fear, right? Now it was showing more of the mercy of God and people, actual people. So they sponsored artwork that stirred people's emotions in a positive way. They were able to tell biblical stories where it was, again, more towards the illiterate. I'm going to show you this short video that's going to tell us more about this time.
3 facts about the Baroque. The period falls between Renaissance and Neoclassicism, 1575 to 1770. It covers architecture, music, painting, sculpture, and other arts. The word comes from the Portuguese word barroco, meaning oddly shaped pearl. The Catholic Church was trying to compete with the Protestant Reformation sweeping Europe by insisting that art should be more emotional, dramatic, and appeal to the general public. While the Protestants were producing this, the Catholic Church was producing this. The aim was to dazzle emotions by appealing to the senses, so everything got huge, elaborate, and dramatic. There was a strong sense of movement, sumptuous colours, and theatrical lighting. Techniques like tenebrism and chiaroscuro were developed. Important artists include Carracci, Caravaggio, and Baroque.
Okay, so I hope that made you understand a little bit more on what I was talking about. Wait, are we still doing this? Okay. So right now, I just have a quick question to make sure that you are paying attention to the lesson and that you understand the concept. True or false? The Counter-Reformation refers to the Protestant movement to break away from the Catholic Church. Is that true or false? Let me check who's participating. Did somebody have a question? I'm sorry. Yes, the answer is true. The Counter-Reformation refers to the Protestant movement breaking away from the Catholic Church. So now is when the church freaked out and they said, okay, we need to do something about this, right? So key points from this time period, Baroque. There isn't a specific style of Baroque art, but all had in common the mastery of the use of light. So it could be about a townspeople. It could be the Bible, a story in the Bible, or it could be, the artwork did not have to just be from the church during the Baroque time period, but the lighting is all the same. They had emotional impact. They had great lighting. And now artwork became more accessible to the ordinary person. So more people owned art now. So again, the French during this time, art was flamboyant and detailed. For the Dutch, it emphasized on economic strata for the nation. For Italy, it highlighted the meaningful mythology. The Spanish focused on the Bible. In Belgium, art movement out of the literature genre and into the painter's studio. So that is the big difference, how the artwork impacted their lives during this time. But again, it had similar characteristics. North Baroque depicted ordinary people doing ordinary things, which lent dignity to the common man, along with the emotional drama and affluence that was typical in Baroque. So, for example, for the first time, people were now not only doing Bible stories, people were now doing landscapes, still lifes, and studio pieces. And here you see this piece that's called the Artist Studio. And another thing that's very important, if you see this curtain, it's almost like the artist's perspective, like they want you to go into the painting. They are having you, like if that curtain was fully covered, they're like almost telling you you're moving it to the side and you're peeking in, which is really neat because things like that are being done for the first time. Okay. The lower country, South Baroque, the art here emphasized on realism. So again, there was more realistic, but it was still very theatrical. The emotions, they weren't just staring with a blank face. No. And again, there was also several altar pieces that were created during this time. And this is a portrait of a young scholar. So if you notice, it also had different like things that defined the young scholar. So this one here, when I talk about dramatic, okay, so this piece here is an example of a very theatrical dramatic piece by Caravaggio. So this was titled right here, the Conversion of St. Paul. And this one here, I mean, there's a lot going on, right? But we still see the light. So there's like total darkness, and then in the back, and then it just brings out the dramatic lighting, right? Let me let this person in. Give me a moment. Okay. And so what we're seeing here is a scene in the Bible when Paul was struck with blindness and converted to Christianity again. Very dramatic, right? You could see him like, oh, like blindness. And okay, so I'm, and so there's a use of light and shadows. So again, it didn't mean that it was now going to be very pretty. It means that now it was going to be more humanized, the artwork for the Catholic Church. And here you have Night Watch, because there's this piece also has strong lighting. It's not a scene from the Bible. It's just it's an art piece it's called the Night Watch, and they're more celebrating their society to protect their country. And so again, look at that darkness in the back. And so when light is placed on there, it very much makes an impact, right? So the lighting is very similar. Baroque architecture. The goal was always for the architecture, because this is when everything is over the top now. Things are dramatic, things are over the top. So it was to impress and elevate their status. It was covered with ornamental gold leaf, and it was surrounded by beautiful gardens, very intricate gardens. And a lot of the architecture had 2,000 plus windows on it. So you can just imagine the manwork that it took to create something like that. But it was over the top. And when I say that, one that comes to mind is the Palace of Versailles. And the Palace of Versailles was outside of Paris in France. And this was the home of King Louis the 14th, who was also known as the Sun King. So Versailles, if you've never heard before, like if you've seen the Kardashians, you've heard that name because they had a fashion show there, because they had a wedding there, because it is very exclusive. It's extremely expensive, and not just anyone can say, I had an event here. But back then, when King Louis, hold on, somebody said something. Yes. Back then, when King Louis did live here and had this created, it became a museum for Baroque artists where they actually lived there. So if you were a Baroque artist and you wanted to learn new painting techniques, you were allowed to live in the Palace of Versailles to study painting techniques and be able to, bring it out into the world, because art was so important during this time and the kind of change that it was going to bring to society, right? So people that were not artists, they actually paid to stay there because they just wanted to be close to the king, and they wanted to say that they were close to the king. So again, we described how the gardens were elaborate, how there was gold leaf everywhere as well. So I want to be able to show you inside of the Palace of Versailles. And so this is a VR here. So this is gold leaf right here. Just absolutely amazing. Marble, gold leaf, elegance, exaggeration of elegance and wealth. Check me out. That's what this time was about. Look at me. Look how much money I have. Look how wealthy I am. Look what I can pay for. This grandiose, ginormous beauty is mine. And the name was told, and everybody had to just know your status and your wealth. Absolutely gorgeous. I think I would geek out. I would definitely geek out if I went there. It would be like an kind of moment. It really would. It's absolutely gorgeous. So that's a 3D. And here's another one where you're going into this hall of chandeliers that, again, is just absolutely amazing. Not only do they have chandeliers here, kind of like candles, and they also have candles up here, but look at the top. I mean, yep, I would definitely geek out if I would go there. The windows, the size of the windows, and how they all open up and they go out to this area in the outside. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. I bet everything's like, do not touch, do not touch. And they have a lot of security there as well. Some of you in this class, I would not recommend you go there. I can picture you going, ooh, pretty. And then you would get escorted out or kicked out, I'm sure. So that is another view of Versailles. And I want to know if you're listening to me. So go ahead and tell me, what is the purpose of the Palace of Versailles? What kind of message do you think the architecture of Baroque palaces such as Versailles were trying to say? What was King Louis trying to tell people by creating this kind of architecture? Go ahead and put your answer there. Go ahead. I want some of you to start giving me your answer. Just refresh, Jalissa. Yes, I love it. This was going to be mine, Lucas. Yes. Anybody else? What did they want to show by creating this? Immense power. Yes. Grandeur, authority, like check me out. Yep. Make it rain. Yes. In that kind of sense, right? I love it. Yes. Very, very cool. Over the top, right? And people still do that these days. I don't know about you, but does anybody have or have seen friends or family members, you know, where, whoa, like everything is grandiose. Everything has to be over the top, you know, because they want to show off. They got some money and they want to show off, right? But then there's also humble people. There's very humble people too that they don't care to show off, but you still see some of that these days. And you see the people who are, you know, show their wealth. Yes, you see the people that have a private jet. Once you hear the word yacht, they have their own private yacht or they have a private jet. I mean, you know what's up with the kind of money they have, right? So yes, you guys got it right. Good job. So absolute monarchs. Absolute monarchs use Baroque art to flaunt their wealth and convince visitors of the crown's grandeur. They wanted to make sure that all visitors left with a sense of awe and a taste of the king's magnificence. Palace of Versailles was exactly that, right? So I'm going to show you this short video and we're almost done.
Versailles wasn't built in a day. It all began in 1629, when King Louis XIII had a hunting lodge built, replaced sometime later by a stone and brick chateau. King Louis XIV inherited this small chateau. In 1666, the sovereign embarked on major building work. Over 50 years, he continued to extend and transform what became Europe's largest chateau, the Palace of Versailles. Architect Louis Deveau designed two symmetrical grand apartments for the king and the queen. Louis XIV moved his government and court to Versailles. After a new program of works, Jules Hardouin-Mansart replaced the terrace overlooking the grounds by the Hall of Mirrors, which became the court's main ceremonial reception room. Mansart further extended the palace to accommodate the royal family, the court, and all the government departments. With the servants, the kitchen and stable staff, close to 10,000 people were bustling about the palace. At the end of his reign, Louis XIV moved his bedchamber to the center of the palace. This room was the hub of the king's daily ceremonial routine and that of all the Versailles courtiers. Towering over the other buildings, a royal chapel was finally built by Mansart on the same scale as the palace. When King Louis XV moved to Versailles, he broke with strict court etiquette and fitted out smaller apartments for more comfort and privacy. At the end of his reign, Louis XV built what the palace was missing, a real opera house. Architect Gabriel modernized the facades closest to the town. In 1789, the French Revolution forced the royal family to leave Versailles for Paris. The future of the palace looked uncertain.
Okay, so that gave you a look. Of course, you can go into it a lot more, but I just showed you this clip because I wanted you to see how amazing, how long it took, the architecture, and how absolutely beautiful it was. I think this one we already did, and it's not working on here, but we already did that 3D thing. So let's go ahead and answer these and show that you understood. There's only 2 last questions. 2, true or false? All Baroque art shares similar characteristics. True or false? This is also a very popular piece. If you know the name, I'm gonna smile. So true or false? All Baroque art share similar characteristics. Come on, guys. So we had talked about this, and the reason that, and I know it can be tricky, because I did tell you that the similarity they share is the dark background and the lighting, but they were all different in the sense of, did they do portraits? Did they do Bible stories? Did they do landscapes? And that's where that comes in. Oh, that said 1 out of 2. Where's the other one? I guess I don't have it there. I need to check on that. Make sure. You guys did a good job. Okay, let me go back because that was it. It is 11:34. I only went over 4 minutes. So I want to thank you guys for being here today. I want to remind you that we need to stay on topic. I want to remind you that respecting each other is very important. And more than anything, I want you to have a fantastic weekend, okay? Because it's Friday. And I want you guys to take care. Have a great weekend. Jalissa, stay over. Actually, stay behind. I'm going to turn off my recording. That way I can help you out.